This is Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 1. We start off with the chorus and the prologue.
Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured, piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love, and the continuance of their parents' rage, which by their children's end naught could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend.
So the purpose of the prologue is to introduce the play. It kind of tells what's going to happen, and it sets the scene. So we are in Verona, and it is written in the form of a sonnet, which means it is important. We start out the scene with Samson and Gregory, who are servants of the Capulet family.
Capulet dogs!
Gregory, on my word, we'll not carry coals.
No, but then we should be colliers.
I mean, and we be in collar, we'll draw.
Aye, while you live, draw your neck out of collar.
I strike quickly, being moved.
But thou art not quickly moved to strike.
A dog of the house of Montague moves me.
To move is to stir, and to be valiant is to stand. Therefore, if thou art moved, thou runst away.
A dog of that house shall move me to stand. I will take the wall of any man or maid of Montague's.
That shows thee a weak slave, for the weakest goes to the wall.
It is true. And therefore women, being the weaker vessels, are ever thrust to the wall. Therefore, I will push Montague's men from the wall and thrust his maids to the wall.
The quarrel is between our masters and us their men.
'Tis all one. I will show myself a tyrant. When I have fought with the men, I will be civil with the maids. I will cut off their heads.
The heads of the men.
Aye, the heads of the maids, or their maiden heads. Take it in what sense thou wilt.
They must take it in sense that feel it.
Me they shall feel, while I'm able to stand. And 'tis known I am a pretty piece of flesh.
'Tis well thou art not fish. If thou hadst been pork's on.
Draw thy tool. Here comes two of the house of Montagues. My naked weapon is out. Quarrel, I will back thee.
How? Turn thy back and run?
Fear me not.
No, marry,
I fear thee. Let us take the law of our side. Let them begin.
I will frown as I pass by, and let them take it as they list.
Nay, as they dare. I will bite my thumb at them, which is disgrace to them if they bear it. Hey!
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
Is the law of our side if I say aye? No. No, sir. I do not bite my thumb at you, sir. But I bite my thumb, sir.
So Samson and Gregory are talking about how much they hate the Montagues, and so much that Samson says, I would take to the wall if I were to see one of them. And Gregory sort of jokes and says, well, that means you're weak. And Samson says, okay, well, I will push the men into the street, and I will push the women up against the wall, and then I'll cut off their heads. So basically he's saying, I will rape the Montague women, and I will cut off their heads. So Samson and Gregory hate the Montagues so much that they're speaking very ill of them. Then they see Abraham and Balthazar come along, and Abraham and Balthazar are servants of the Montague family, and they're talking about how much they hate these Montagues, right? And so Gregory doesn't really think Samson is going to fight, and so Samson says, well, let's let them start the fight, because it's illegal to start a fight, and Gregory doesn't want to get in trouble either. So Samson says, I'll bite my thumb at them, which is basically like giving someone the middle finger. And as he does that, Abraham says, did you just bite your thumb at me? And Samson says, well, I do bite my thumb. And Abraham's like, at me? He's like, well, I did bite my thumb, not at you, because he knows it's illegal to start a fight, but he really is trying to start this fight.
Do you quarrel, sir?
Quarrel, sir? No, sir.
But if you do, sir, I am for you. I serve as good a man as you.
No better.
Well, sir.
Say better.
Here comes one of my master's kinsmen.
So Gregory says, do you want to fight? And Abraham says, no. Do you? And he says, no, but if you want to fight, I'll fight. And then they start arguing about who's better, the Montagues or the Capulets. And Benvolio's coming in, and so they have to say, oh, my man is better than yours. And so they're going to start this fight.
Yes, better, sir. You lie! Have you been there? My washing blood!
Art, fools, put up your swords! You know not what you do!
What art thou drawn among these heartless hinds? Turn thee, Benvolio. Look upon thy death.
I do but keep the peace, Tybalt. Put up thy sword, or manage it to part these men with me.
What? Drawn and talk of peace? I hate the word as I hate hell, all Montagues and thee.
Have at thee, coward! Skeleton partisans! Down with the Capulet!
What noise is this? Give me my long sword, Ho.
A crutch, I call you for a sword.
Make way!
Montague! My sword, I say. Old Montague is come, and flourishes his blade in spite of me.
Thou villain, Capulet!
Husband!
Hold me not! Let me go!
Thou shalt not stir 1 foot to seek a foe!
Okay, so the servants are all fighting with one another, and Benvolio comes in. So Benvolio is Romeo's cousin and good friend, and he's trying to stop the fight. Benvolio is kind of known as the peacekeeper of the group, and he says, stop, put up your swords, you don't know what you do. Well, in comes Tybalt, who's Juliet's cousin, and he is crazy, he's kind of a hothead, and he loves fighting. And so he says, basically, shut up, Benvolio, we are going to fight, and I'm going to kill you. And the people of the town are cheering them on, and they want this fight to happen kind of because they just want them all to die so the fighting will end, but it's just a rowdy time. And then conveniently here comes Capulet and Montague, and they're both about to join in on the fight.
Hold Rebellious subjects, enemies to peace, profaners of this neighbor-stained steel, will they not hear? What ho, you men, you beasts! Quench the fire of your pernicious rage with purple fountains issuing from your veins, on pain of torture. From those bloody hands, throw your mistempered weapons to the ground, and hear the sentence of your moved prince. 3 civil brawls, read of an airy word by thee, old Capulet and Montague, have thrice disturbed the quiet of our streets, and made Verona's ancient citizens cast by their grave beseeming ornaments to wield old partisans in hands as old, cankered with peace, to part your cankered hate. If ever you disturb our streets again, your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. For this time all the rest depart away. You, Capulet, shall go along with me.
My lord.
And Montague, come you this afternoon to know our farther pleasure in this case to old Free Town, our common judgment place.
My lord.
Once more, on pain of death, all men depart.
So enter Prince Aeschylus, who is kind of the ruler, the leader of the town. And he stops the fight, and he is mad. And he says, this is the 3rd time this has happened. You have disturbed the peace 3 times, and if you ever do it again, you will pay with your life. So he has had enough. He's over this fighting and he wants it to end. And so he says, all right, everybody, get out of here. And Capulet, come with me. Montague, come to my office later today, and we'll talk about your punishment and the situation. So everyone leaves, and we're just left with the Montagues and Benvolio.
Who set this ancient quarrel new approach? Speak, nephew. Were you by when it began?
Here were the servants of your adversary and yours, close fighting ere I did approach. I drew to part them. In the instant came the fiery Tybalt with his sword prepared, which as he breathed defiance to my ears, he swung about his head and cut the winds, who nothing hurt withal, hissed him in scorn. While we were interchanging thrusts and blows, came more and fought on part and part till the prince came, who parted either part.
So Montague says, what happened? And Benvolio explains, we were all fighting, and I tried to stop it, and Tybalt didn't let us stop, and then the prince came and broke the whole thing up.
Oh, where is Romeo? Saw you him today? Right glad I am he was not at this fray.
An hour before the worshipped sun peered forth the golden window of the east, a troubled mind drew me to walk abroad, where underneath the grove of sycamore that westward rooteth from the city side, so early walking did I see your son. Towards him I made, but he was ware of me, and stole into the covert of the wood, I measuring his affections by my own, which then most sought where most might not be found, being one too many by my weary self, pursued my humour, not pursuing his, and gladly shunned gladly fled from me.
So Lady Montague says, Benvolio, have you seen Romeo? I'm glad he wasn't here. And Benvolio says, I saw him this morning, and he was down by the tree looking really sad. He said he didn't look like he wanted to be bothered, and quite honestly, I didn't really feel like bothering him, and so I just kind of let him be.
Many a morning hath he there been seen, with tears augmenting the fresh morning's dew, adding to clouds more clouds with his deep sighs. But all so soon as the all-cheering sun should in the farthest east begin to draw the shady curtains from Aurora's bed, away from light steals home my heavy son, and private in his chamber pens himself, shuts up his windows, locks fair daylight out, and makes himself an artificial night. Black and portentous must this humour prove, unless good counsel may the cause remove.
My noble uncle, do you know the cause?
I neither know it nor can learn of him.
Have you importuned him by any means?
Both by myself and many other friends, but he, his own affection's counsellor, is to himself, I will not say how true, but to himself so secret and so close, so far from sounding and discovery, as is the bud, bit with an envious worm ere he can spread his sweet leaves to the air or dedicate his beauty to the sun. Could we but learn from whence his sorrows grow, we would as willingly give cure as know.
See where he comes. Look, so please you step aside. I'll know his grievance or be much denied.
I would thou wert so happy by thy stay to hear true shrift. Come, madam, let's away.
Okay, so Benvolio says, yeah, he seemed really sad this morning. And Montague says, I know. He has been locked up in his room lately and just like super bummed about something. So he closes the windows, he closes the door, and he just like cries in his room all the time. And we don't know what's wrong with him, and he won't tell us. And they said if we could find out, then we would be happy to help him, but we have no idea what's going on. So they see Romeo approaching, and Montague asks Benvolio to kind of talk to him and figure out what's going on. And so Montague and Lady Montague leave, and now we're left with Benvolio and Romeo.
Good morrow, cousin.
Is the day so young?
The news struck nigh.
Ay, me, sad hours seem long. Was that my father that went hence so fast?
It was. What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours?
Not having that which having makes them short.
In love.
Out
Of love.
Out of her favour where I am in love.
Alas, that love so gentle in his view should be so tyrannous and rough in proof.
Alas.
Okay, so Benvolio says, "Good morning, cousin." And Romeo says, "It's still only morning. My day has been so long." Benvolio asks, "Why? Why are your days so long?" And Romeo says, "Well, I don't have the thing that would make my days go quickly." So he's talking about love. So there's someone that he loves that does not love him back.
That love, whose view is muffled still, should without eyes see pathways to his will. Where shall we dine? Oh me, what fray was here? Yet tell me not, for I have heard it all. He has much to do with hate, but more with love. Why then, O brawling love, O loving hate, O anything of nothing first create, O heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health, still waking sleep that is not what it is. This love feel I that feel no love in this. Dost thou not laugh?
No, cuz, I rather weep.
Good heart, at what?
At thy good heart's oppression.
Why, such is love's transgression. Griefs of mine own lie heavy in my breast, which thou wilt propagate to have it pressed with more of thine. This love that thou hast shown doth add more grief to too much of mine own. Love is a smoke made with a fume of sighs, being purged, a fire sparkling in lovers' eyes, being vexed, a sea nourished with lovers' tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, a choking gall and a preserving sweet. Farewell, my cuz.
So Romeo is being very dramatic about love right now. They come across the scene of the fight, and he's like, "What happened here? Oh, don't even tell me. Everything is horrible." He has lots of juxtaposition in his line. Oh, brawling love, oh, loving hate, cold fire, sick health. And he's just got all this stuff going on, right? So life is just rough for Romeo. And Benvolio kind of laughs, but he's not really laughing. He's sad for his cousin. And Romeo compares love to like choking on something sweet.
Soft, I will go along, and you leave me so, you do me wrong.
Tut, I have lost myself. I am not here. This is not Romeo. He's some other where.
Tell me in sadness, who is't that you love?
What shall I groan and tell thee?
Groan, why no, but sadly tell me who.
Bid a sick man in sadness make his will, a word ill urged to one that is so ill. In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman.
I aimed so near when I supposed you loved.
A right good markman, and she's fair, I love.
A right fair mark, fair cuz, is soonest hit.
So Benvolio says, "Who is it that you love so much?" And Romeo says, "I love a woman." And Benvolio says, "Yep, I got that. Who is it that you love?"
Well, in that hit you miss. She'll not be hit with Cupid's arrow. She hath Dian's wit, and in strong proof of chastity well armed, from love's weak childish bow she lives unharmed. She will not stay the siege of loving terms, nor bide the encounter of assailing eyes, nor ope her lap to saint-seducing gold. Oh, she is rich in beauty, only poor, that when she dies, with beauty dies her store.
Then she hath sworn that she will still live chaste?
She hath, and in that sparing makes huge waste. For beauty starved with her severity cuts beauty off from all posterity. She is too fair, too wise, wisely too fair, to merit bliss by making me despair. She hath forsworn to love, and in that vow do I live dead that live to tell it now.
So Romeo says this girl that he loves refuses to love him back. In fact, he says she refuses to love anyone at all. She's so beautiful, but she won't love him back. And Benvolio says, "Well, does she swear to live in chaste?" And Romeo says, yes. So that means she's promising to be a virgin forever. And Romeo says, it's such a waste because she's so beautiful and she would have beautiful babies. And now when she dies, her beauty is going to die with her. So he loves this woman solely based on how she looks. There's no relationship there. He's just in love with her, and she refuses to love him back. So life is rough for Romeo.
Be ruled by me. Forget to think of her.
Oh, teach me how I should forget to think.
By giving liberty unto thine eyes, examine other beauties.
'Tis the way to call hers exquisite in question more. These happy masks that kiss fair ladies' brows, being black, puts us in mind they hide the fair. He that is struck and blind cannot forget the precious treasure of his eyesight lost. Show me a mistress that is passing fair. What doth her beauty serve but as a note where I may read who passed that passing fair? Farewell, thou canst not teach me to forget.
I'll pay that doctrine or else die in debt.
So Benvolio says, well, if she refuses to love you, just forget about her. And Romeo says, I can't forget about her. She's so beautiful. How am I supposed to forget? Benvolio says, well, go look at other women. So I'll help you find someone else. We'll find another girl for you to love. Romeo says, I don't think you can do that. And Benvolio says, I vow to try. So he is making his goal to find a new woman for Romeo to love. And that is the end of scene 1.